So, hey everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. And the very first time that we've gone live here on YouTube, I just have to shout out to my husband for setting this all up, even though we've had a little bit of some technical difficulties. But I am always grateful to him for his knowledge because I wouldn't be here without him. So, thank you, Ryan. If you're new to my channel, this channel is all about strengthening the family one meal at a time. So if you are into that, please consider subscribing to my channel. I have my computer set up here so I can read any comments or questions that you guys have, and feel free to ask any questions that you have. And throughout this live, I'm going to be more than willing to answer your questions. My name is Christine, and it's really hard to believe that 10 years ago, I graduated from culinary school. It just blows my mind at how fast time goes by. And here we are 10 years later. If you're new to the kitchen or you just don't like cooking, tonight I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you increase your success in the kitchen. Now I have my notes here and I'm going to look to these often so I don't get sidetracked and start talking and start rambling, because I have a tendency of doing that. If you're here, make sure you hit that like button so I can see that you're here and interacting. And please say hello in the chat so I know that you're here and we can talk. But thank you again for joining me here on our very first live here on YouTube. So the first tip I want to give you is, if you're struggling with dinners and what to make, I highly recommend that you write out a meal plan. Sit down maybe the same time every week and write out a meal plan for 1 week or even up to 2 weeks. This is going to help you be more organized. And then when it's time for dinner, you're not stressed and thinking about, what do I make for dinner? You've already got it planned out and you just already know. And when you wake up in the morning, you just look at your meal plan and you know what you're going to be having for dinner. So first tip, write out a meal plan. That is very simple, basic, but it can save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. Also, here in the near future, I'm going to be having a meal plan that you guys can download and use in your homes for your family. So stay tuned for that. I'm still working on that, tweaking a few recipes and getting it perfect for you guys. So give me a thumbs up if you would like a meal plan coming your way. The second tip is to clean out your fridge and your pantry often. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the grocery store and I've thought to myself, do I have cilantro? Do I need cilantro? And so when I think I don't have it, I buy some, and then I come home and I find out I actually have 2 already in my fridge. So I recommend cleaning out your fridge and your pantry and going through those often, and especially before you write out your meal plans, because if you already have a lot of produce in your fridge, then you can meal plan around what's already in your fridge, and then you're not wasting anything that you've already purchased, and it makes it easier to, when you clean it out, you're using it instead of just throwing it away, because I hate throwing away food, especially because it takes so much time and effort to go to the grocery store and meal plan and do all those things. So to have to throw it away, just, it's really hard. So lately, I've been really focusing on what's in my fridge and pulling it out and making dinner from what I already have. This is going to save you time and money, and we are all about that here on this channel. Tip number 3. Oh, good, Bearded Monkey. I'm glad you're interested, and I'm really excited to make the meal plan. I've already got it's a 2-week meal plan so far that I've written out the meals, but I want to go through, and I know I could talk to you forever about meal plans, but I'm actually really excited because I want to go through and then write it out and help you. Okay, if tomorrow's chicken, then today you need to do this, and so on and so forth. Plus, I want to have videos to go along with them so that you can be more successful in the kitchen, because that's my focus here, is to help make things easier for you so that you enjoy being in the kitchen and you enjoy feeding your family. Okay, so the third thing I want to talk about is something that I learned in culinary school, but I kind of already knew it, but it was really enforced in my head when I was in school. The third thing is clean as you go. I know this sounds so obvious, but in reality, when you're cooking, it might not be obvious. You start cooking something over here, and then you've got to stir something over here, and then you've got to chop something over here. And before you know it, you've got mile-high dishes that you have to clean up. And so one thing I recommend for you when you're cooking is start with an empty dishwasher. That's what I like to try and do, because when the dishwasher is empty, as soon as I've finished mixing something in a bowl, I can rinse it off, put it in my dishwasher, and I don't have to think about it again. Now, I was talking with my husband a little bit earlier today, and he goes, well, I'm not very good in the kitchen, and so I get so focused on what I'm cooking that the last thing I think about is cleaning, and then I turn around when I'm done, and I've got tons of dishes and a whole mess to clean up. And yes, he does leave a mess, but it's okay. He makes great food, so I forgive him. So I told him this. I said, Ryan, when you're first learning to cook, when you're first trying out new recipes, when you're doing all these things, don't focus on, I have to have a clean kitchen. I have to do this. I have to do that. When you're first in the kitchen, the most important thing to focus on is the food, the recipe, what you're doing, because you don't want to be, wasting this money burning something because you were scrubbing a pan. So the first thing I would say is focus on the food, learn the techniques, and then it will come. But if you're already advanced in your cooking, you've already made that recipe a dozen times and you don't have to babysit it, then I would highly recommend mise en place. It's a French word for everything in its place. If you know you're going to be making a steak, well, that's pretty simple. You've got your butter and your herbs and the oil and the pan and the steak and salt and pepper. Once you've got everything prepped out, then clean up what you've already used. So if you used a knife and a cutting board to chop up some herbs for your steak, or you had to mash some potatoes, we'll clean that up. Then when you're about to make your steak, you've got everything's already ready for you to cook. Plus, the prep work is already cleaned up. Does that make sense? So when you're cooking your steak, you can be focused in on the steak and not worry about the dishes because you already cleaned that all up. But if you're making something like a casserole, then make it, and then when it's baking, because they, about 30 minutes in the oven, that's when you take the time to wipe down the counters, do the dishes, clean up, and then by the time it's done, your kitchen is clean and you don't have to do any more dishes until after dinner. So I can't stress that enough. When I was in culinary school, my last semester of school, we ran a restaurant. And so you have all these dishes and prep work before the restaurant even opens. So you have to be on top of your station and your cleaning before the restaurant even opens. Then when the restaurant is open and people are ordering, it's just go, 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 go. You don't have time to think and do. So you've got to stay organized and cleaning as you go. Otherwise, you're going to run out of dishes and you've got a million things to clean up after, and you're already tired, and the list goes on and on. So clean as you go. That will help you out in the kitchen in so many ways. When I clean up as I go and I've done my dishes, and after we've eaten dinner as a family, then it really only takes 10 to 15 minutes to clean up the kitchen. It's just load up the dishes from what we ate off of and any pots and pans that were used last minute while cooking. So 10 to 15 minutes really isn't too bad to clean up a kitchen if you've cleaned as you go. So I don't know if I can stress that enough. I probably bored you to death talking about cleaning your kitchen, but that's the third tip I have for you is clean as you go. So the last little tip I want to throw out there for you tonight is make sure you involve your family when you're meal planning, because if you're asking them what they want to eat, they're more likely to eat the food and they're more likely to help you out in the kitchen, and they'll enjoy spending that time with you because they're looking forward to the food that you're going to make. I have a 7-year-old little boy, his name is Joshua, and he'll ask, I'm not kidding, this happens almost on a daily basis. He'll come in and say, Mom, what's for dinner? And I'll say, oh, we're having tacos or whatever it is for the night. And he always goes, oh, Mom, when can I pick dinner? And I told him the other day, I said, hey, buddy, what do you want to have for dinner? And he's like, oh, I want this chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans. And kind of made me chuckle because I thought, what 7-year-old is asking for that meal? But he now told me that. So now it's on my meal plan for next week. And then when I'm making it, he's going to be really excited, not only because we're making what he chose, but he also had a part in choosing what I made, and he's going to help me cook it, and he's just going to be really excited. And so involve your family in the cooking. I promise it will make it easier because then you're getting input on everyone, and then you're not stressed about what do I make, and then you're not stuck making the same thing. And also, to go back to meal planning, I forgot to tell you this. When you're meal planning, if you ever get stuck on what to make for dinner, and I know all of you have gone through this, where it's like, we make the same 10 recipes. I've gone through this a million times, and I'm so sick of eating X, Y, and Z. So what I did one time was I actually took one of my cookbooks. So not this one, but I took one of the cookbooks when I got in this rut, and I was like, you know what? I have like 50 cookbooks and I don't ever cook from them. So I'm going to take this one cookbook and I am going to only cook from it for the next week or two. And then I kind of got a feel for the cookbook. Did I like it? Did I like the recipes? Is it something I want to keep? Or were they just kind of okay meals and my family didn't love them? Then if there were a few recipes that I liked from the book, I wrote them down and I tossed the book. But if it was something that I really wanted to keep because everything in it was amazing, then I kept the book. So not only am I going through my cookbooks and trying new recipes, but I'm also going through my books and eliminating things that I just stack up. And then before you know it, you have 50, like me. So I highly recommend doing that when you're meal planning. Just take one of your cookbooks. If you're tired of searching the internet and Pinterest and your traditional recipes, grab a cookbook and only cook from that for a week. Now, like for this one, for instance, this is an Asian flair cookbook, which it's really great. But if you don't want to eat Asian every single night, then pick 2 or 3 cookbooks and just pick from those. And it just makes it easier to go through your meal planning. Well, okay, well, I'm going to look here. Do any of you guys have any other questions for me? I am really excited to do lives like this, and I would be more than happy to do some lives more often if you guys are interested. So let me know in the comments. Just say, yes, more lives. If you want to see more things, I'm hoping to be able to set up a second camera, and then we can do some cooking together where you guys can ask questions. If you want to see something specifically done on a live like this, let's do it. So let me know if there's something specific you want to see, or if you want to see more lives, or if you want more conversations like this where I come to you with tips and techniques and ideas, or if you want to just hear me ramble and ramble and ramble. Because I'm good at doing that too. Yes, bearded monkey, please try doing it with your kids. My kids, every once in a while, I get in this rut where I'm like, what do I make? We've had spaghetti, we've had tacos, we've had, everything we go through. And I'll just say, hey, Emily, Joshua, what do you guys want for dinner? And they'll say, oh, we want bulgogi, and oh, we want Julia Child's chicken. It's like, oh, thank you. I didn't even think of that. You're right. We haven't had those in a while. So yes, involve your kids. And it really is more fun to have them in the kitchen and being involved. Well, if there's not anything else you guys would like to hear from me tonight, you're always welcome to check out my Instagram. It's just Zested Foods, and also on Facebook, Zested Foods. And also here on YouTube, you can leave comments for me if you want to see something specific, either in a video or on a live. Just let me know, and we will go from there. But thank you for joining me tonight on this first live. I really appreciate it, and we hope to see you around. And thank you again for being a part of the Zested family. And we will see you guys in the next video. Have a great night.